Went to school in KwaZulu-Natal. It's an all-boys boarding school called Hilton College. And I was incredibly fortunate to have an English teacher by the name of Derek Veenstra. We called him Mr. V. And he introduced a poem to me called The Lake Isle of Innisfree by William Butler Yeats. In that poem, Yeats is speaking of his childhood holidays on a little island on a loch in Ireland called Innisfree. In Gaelic, Innis means island, and Free is actually Freya, which means heather, the island of heather. And I opened the album with a rendition of this poem. And the poem struck me so deeply, perhaps more because of how Mr. V said it, how he shared it with us. It was something so true in the words that then moved through him. And it struck two notes in me. One is of my earliest memory as a young child being pushed by my father in a swing. The sun is setting over the high-felt koppies and the sky is pink. Cat Stevens' Where Do the Children plays coming from out the house. And the other key memory is sitting on the stoep with my grandfather with his binoculars, showing me the stories and songs of the robin. Hearing this poem struck those notes so that there was this deep feeling of home, of something bigger than me. And Mr. V was a person who just helped provide space for us to remember.
And go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I will have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all the glimmer, and noon a purple glow, the evening full of the linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. Whether I stand on the roadway or the pavement's grey, I hear it in the deep heart's core.
So this went on, doing English class, you can imagine, every day for 2 years together. And at the same time, Mrs. V, Mr. V's wife, Debbie Veenstra, she was our art teacher. And so I had this creative mother and father that were guiding not just me, but many boys in trying to find their voice and trying to create spaces in the learning environment where we could really reflect and share what felt true for us.
The old relics of my master, meeting the bones of my old teacher. Their faces look upon a view. The space from me to you.
We were about to write our English exam, and me and a friend went to go see Mr. V to ask him some questions about the paper, of which he wasn't very forthcoming. And he just said, "Don't worry, boys, you're gonna be great." And he walked off. And later that evening, there was a very strange energy in the boarding house. Our house master was very stressed. There was a kind of emergency roll call. There was a helicopter that flew over. And it was only the next morning we were all, the whole school, summoned to the main lawn. And the headmaster told us that Mr. V had lost his life. That his car was found at a place called The Point, which is an exquisite view over the Mgeni Valley, which Hilton College sits on top. It was a place that we went to very often, and that Mr. V's body had been found under one of the cliffs. We didn't know how or what had happened, but he had fallen. And in that moment, the shock was so strong, it was such a knockout, that I remember just being completely numb, and like my entire world had just been vacuumed. And it was only a few hours later, after spending most of the morning in the classroom, that I then walked to Mrs. V's house to see her. And it was in that moment that I let the grief move through me in what was probably the most traumatic and powerful moment in my life. Coming to fully feel the fragility of what it is to be here. How quickly that can change.
No air left unbreathed. No air left unbreathed. No air left unbreathed. No air left unbreathed. No air left unbreathed.
Mrs. V held us through the whole process. We finished the exams. I spoke at his memorial service, and after school finished, I got confused from time to time, but for the most part, really tried to keep tracking these threads all the way back to that child who was in that swing with my father, on the stoep with my grandfather, in the classroom with Mr. V. on the Lake Isle of Innisfree with Mr. Yates, trying to remember what really matters. A sense of belonging, a sense of this earth, a sense of the sky and this sun and this breath and this body and this heart. And there's been numerous people who are all in the album and in the story who have helped keep that alive for me, who I've pursued that with, who we have tended to those seeds. And now it feels like we are finally walking through that forest together. That Innisfree is here.
Wake me up, call the cuckoo.
And those that have gone, that this album is dedicated to, Mr. V, Kurt, many others, that wherever we go, we see them. And whenever we see them, they go.
They go.